Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever Knicks NFL Football Preview 2014. Now, I know that we're in week 7 already, and might I add that it feels like this NFL football season and just the football season in general. It doesn't matter whether you're talking college, high school, NFL, it doesn't matter. It just seems like it's flying by, period. And so, as most of you know, I've been having some software difficulties. So, finally got things fixed, and now, what can I say? Here we go. So what I did was, I wanted to make a show exclusively for just football, for the previews, so to speak. And probably the next time I do this, I'll be reviewing some of the major games that happened that caught everybody's eye. You'll have to exclude my little monitor right here, because I know it's flashing all, the different sports and whatnot, but this is a work in progress, so bear with me. But I printed out a list of all the NFL games and the noteworthy college football games. So, without further ado, here it goes. Of course, I'm Nick Brolis, in case you haven't figured it out by now. Starting with college, one of the games that I'm very intrigued to see how it goes is obviously Ohio State and Rutgers. I took Ohio State naturally, and one of the main reasons is because they are at home. So I do have the Buckeyes winning over Rutgers. The next game that I really took a hard look at was number 14 Kansas State at number 11 Oklahoma. I really do think that Oklahoma is going to pull this off. They are at home, and I think they're going to pretty much win this game by 10, 14 points in my opinion. The next game is number 21 Texas A&M at Alabama. I do think that the Crimson Tide are going to take care of business at home. It's been a while since I've seen Alabama lose a game at home. But that being said, I still think they're going to win at home. Number 15, Oklahoma State at number 12, TCU. I watched that TCU Baylor game last week, and I tell you what, for those of you that don't know, when I know that I'm not going to be able to watch a game, I always record it so I can watch it when I do have the chance. When Baylor was on the field, I didn't even have to fast forward because their offense is so fast. But getting back to this game, I took TCU. Now, the big primetime Saturday night game this Saturday is number 5 Notre Dame at number 2 Florida State. Now, Dave, I know we talked about this at work, and I didn't give you my opinion there, but I'm going to give it to you and all of you now. I just think that Florida State is going to come out on top. I think they're going to win by 7 points at the most. I really do. Now, before I move on to the NFL, I do want to say, please feel free to let me know about all these opinions. My email is nickbrolis8404@yahoo.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @nbrolis. And for those of you who have my phone number, no, I'm not giving out to you here, but just let me know either way. Now, moving on to the NFL. There's a lot of players that think that Thursday night football games and their ratings have been terrible. And there's good reason for that. Most of the games have been terrible. This game does not change my opinion of that. The Jets are at the Patriots, and it's rainy up in Foxborough on the Thursday night. I am going to emphatically take the New England Patriots. Not that I like them, as most of you know I can't stand any teams from New York or the New England area, but I do think that the Patriots are going to absolutely tear apart the Jets. I'd be shocked if it's a game. Next up, the Falcons are at the Ravens. I took the Ravens because they're at home, and the Falcons are not a good team away from the dome, much like the Saints. Next up is the Titans at the Redskins. I took the Redskins because I like Kirk Cousins, and the Titans are they're one step away from being a complete mess, in my opinion. And yes, I know, of course, it took the Browns, the biggest comeback on road history in the NFL, to beat the Titans, but nonetheless, the Titans are a bad team. They will be, in my opinion, in the top 5 of the NFL draft come 2015. Next up, the Seahawks travel to St. Louis. I do have the Seahawks winning this game. I think that they're pretty darn mad about the fact that they lost in Seattle to Dallas. Now, before I go on, I want to say this. I hear so many people just assume that since a certain team is at home and they're so hard to beat at home, you know, like a Seattle or Green Bay, the team is just automatically just, oh, you can book it because it's in Seattle, because it's in Green Bay. You know, it don't matter. Guess what? Any given Sunday, any team can go to anybody else's place and beat them. So I just want to throw that out there because I hear so much about people just assuming that just because one team's playing at a certain, you know, venue that it's an automatic win. There's no such thing as an automatic win in sports, period. Okay, now, the Bengals and the Colts. I took the Colts because I don't think the Bengals are as good of a team as what their record shows, and the Colts are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, not to mention they have a top 5 quarterback in Andrew Luck. That's my opinion. Then I took the Bills over the Vikings. They're in Buffalo, and I just don't think the Vikings are ready to win, period, let alone on the road. Next up, I do have, this is going to be considered an upset, I do have the Dolphins going to Chicago and beating the Bears. Sorry, Tim. I know you're a big Bears fan, but that's my opinion. Let me put it this way. You can't just go off of paper and stats on paper. And I always look for at least 1 to 2 teams that shouldn't win against the other team, and I pick those teams to win because you never know which team's going to pull off that shocker. Next up, I do have the Saints going to Detroit and defeating the Lions. I know the Saints have not had a Saints-type year, but I just think since it's in a controlled environment, I think they're going to do well, and I do see them beating Detroit. And I have the Packers beating the Panthers because the Panthers just don't know what the heck's going on. And to be honest with you, I think Cam Newton's highly questionable as a franchise quarterback. Next up, I have the Chiefs upsetting the Chargers. Yes, Tim, I have your Kansas City Chiefs upsetting the San Diego Chargers in San Diego. And no, I'm not saying this because your Royals are in the World Series now, and it's just a good way for Kansas City. I just firmly believe that they're going to go in and pull off the upset. And I think that the Cardinals are just going to beat the Raiders pretty badly, just my opinion. And next up is the Giants at the Cowboys. I do have Dallas winning that game. And Dallas is just the hottest team in the NFL probably right now other than the Denver Broncos. Speaking of the Denver Broncos, I actually have the Broncos beating the 49ers in Denver. Peyton Manning is the hottest quarterback in terms of numbers. No, not that hottest, guys. Get that out of your head. But I just think that they are one of the better teams in the NFL, obviously. Number 1 probably. And I just have them winning. Now, for all you Pittsburgh fans, you were so upset. You were so upset with the fact that we just beat you guys up so badly last week. Relax. Because I have you beating the Texans on Monday Night Football. That leads me to my game of the week, obviously, which is the Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is my opinion. And it's probably going to shock a lot of you people. But I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Browns because the Browns have not proven to me yet that they can go on the road consistently and win a game. Now, I realize that the Browns are showing a lot of signs that they could be turning around, but I just think the Browns have to continue to prove to me that they are ready to win on the road. And Blake Bortles is, in my opinion, an up-and-coming quarterback. But that's it for this first edition of Nick's NFL Week. Well, you get the idea. My NFL preview show for Week 7. Thank you for joining me. Have a great week and good luck on your picks.